SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. From personal banking to growing your business or buying a home, our expert guidance makes it simple. We're more than a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Roll pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Roll A, fade up on A.
Southern Miss to the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
All right, everybody. Good Friday afternoon to you. SuperTalk Eagle Hour on the road today. We're at BankFirst in Petal, Mississippi on an absolutely gorgeous day outside. We're glad to be here. Going to be talking to DJ Thoms, who is the president of the Petal Bank here as well. For you baseball fans, this kind of came as a surprise to it, but we have the throw it in the dirt man here. And we're going to get him to do that for us before the show is over. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, if Kelly could do it before him, I'd like to hear Kelly's impression of the throw it in the dirt guy.
Well, I do Amanda's throw it in the dirt a little bit better.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, but before we get started with our coverage here at the bank and all the other things we're going to be talking about, breaking news yesterday, my man here, Dima Mixon, actually broke the story. And a dear friend of ours and of this show, Steve Knight, has announced his retirement after 44 brilliant years as the head basketball coach at William Carey. And I would point out the winningest all-time basketball coach, Dima Mixon, in in state history.
Yes.
Going to be a long time before anybody breaks this man's record.
A long time. And we're joined now by Coach Knight. And, Coach, just wanted to ask you just first and foremost, obviously so many years at William Carey, so many memories, so many things you did for that university. It has to, even though this decision has been made, it has to be a kind of a full circle moment for you to make this decision.
It is, Dima. It was tough. It's something that I've contemplated the last couple of years. But we got back from Kentucky, long drive back. I started thinking, I said, 28 wins, tied a school record. I've always been told it's better to go out on top. And that probably flipped it for me right there. Because I got some things that I want to do and enjoy. And I'll be 70 years old in August. So it's time for some younger folks to get in there and keep this thing going.
Coach Knight, you were very kind to sit down with me just a couple of weeks ago to record a podcast, which we're going to be releasing here in the next couple of weeks. And I didn't have the impression that day you had made your mind up to do this. Am I correct about that?
Oh, you're right. You're right. The way it ended, since that interview. We won the regular season championship, made it to the national tournament, won a game in the nationals, and that just, like I said, that kind of did it for me right there. I just one thing I always wanted to do, I wanted to leave the program better than I found it, and I went out after a great season, and I certainly expect that role to keep going. We started out 3 years ago. We won 18, then we won 19, and now 28. So we've averaged about 23 wins a season the last 3 years. Wow. After having sort of a dip after COVID kind of set us back a little bit, but we got back to where I expect that program to be just about every year, which is competing for a title. And, long drive back, thought about it for the next couple of days, and then made the decision.
Coach, let me ask you this. Had you not had a great year like this year, 28 wins, conference championship, winning a game in the national tournament, do you think you would have viewed it differently?
I do. I really do. I think I've got some coaching left in me. but sometimes you have to make a tough decision and say, now's the time. And I just felt like I prayed about it, and talked with my wife and some others, and it just seemed like the right thing to do. And I know I surprised a lot of folks. A lot of folks think I'm younger than what I am. I'm pushing 70, so it's just it's something I've done for a long, long time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Being at William Carey has been a blessing. Being able to stay in Hattiesburg, my hometown, keep up with Southern Miss, and it's just been a great 44 years. So,
Coach Knight,
I'll stick around.
We could spend the rest of this segment talking about the number of coaches and list by name the number of coaches who played for you and are now at all different levels of coaching, high school, JUCO, Division I, all these guys that have played for you and are now coaching. So with that said, how would you describe your level of interest in having a say in who your replacement might be? It's tough shoes to fill.
Well, yeah, it definitely is. You always say you don't want to follow a guy who's been successful. Give it a couple years and see what happens. But it's just I told Tracy, I've got so many good coaches that played for me. It would be really tough for me to just sit back and pick one over another.
Right.
And so I'm kind of staying out of it. I will say this. I think my assistant coach, PJ McCray, did a great job this year. I missed some time with the hip surgery and whatever, and he stepped up and, took full control of the team while I was out, and they really responded to him. So I think that'll be a big factor. I think he'll be interviewed for it and should be high on the list.
I think some people kind of thought that was an audition, per se, as to how would he handle the team with you?
Yeah, I think he really, really impressed some folks this year, and because PJ has been our JV coach, and we haven't been really successful with our JV program, but it's basically a talent level situation, trying to put a JV team in a bunch of freshmen in against D1 level JUCO teams that we play. So it was hard to evaluate his ability to coach. But once he got in there with our guys, I've given him more and more responsibility also during the last 3 years in practice. I think that's really helped him grow. And he, like I said, he's done a fantastic job.
Curious, Coach, about when you told your team the news, just kind of how their reaction was.
Well, it's obviously a little bit shocked, but not unexpected, because after our last game, I told them that I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So that kind of planted the seed there, as far as, hey, he may retire. So so not a full shock, but still, when you lose the head coach, each player takes it differently. I had 5 seniors, so it really doesn't mean that much to them. But the returners, they're all, hey, well, what is my future,
Right.
So a little anxiety there for them. But, during this time period right now, I'm still working, and I'll be there till May 15th, and they can come by and see me. And PJ is also just doing his normal spring stuff with recruiting and bringing in players for our workouts, and also in charge of our spring workouts. So, I'm sure they talk about it. They talk about it a lot, and obviously, if you sign with a team, you sign with a coach, and the coach is no longer going to be there, then things are different in the future. So, but they've all been good.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for everything you've done with us through the years. It's been a great privilege to work with you, and the kindness you've always shown toward this show and SuperTalk and all of us is something we're not ever going to forget. And we just think you're the best ever, and we wish you absolutely nothing but a good life in your retirement years.
Well, Bob, I appreciate that. You know, I've enjoyed working with SuperTalk. Been doing it for a long time, and you guys have been great for William Carey University, and I hope that continues.
No question it will, Coach. We thank the world of you, and thank you for coming on today.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Coach Steve Knight, the great Coach Steve Knight.
The great, no doubt.
No question about it.
And whoever the new coach is, it's just going to be weird looking over.
I mean, it's like Kalen DeBoer when he replaced Nick Saban, right? It's like, what is that guy doing there?
Yeah, who is he?
No question. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to J.J. Thoms, who is the president of this beautiful bank here in Petal. We're happy to be here. We're at First Bank in Petal, BankFirst in Petal. We'll be right back.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Hey, welcome back. The SuperTalk Eagle Hour is on the road today. We're at BankFirst here in Petal, Mississippi on a gorgeous afternoon. And before we bring on J.J. Thoms, who is the president of the bank here, Dima, put in perspective Steve Knight's career.
I mean, it's hard to do that in a couple of sentences. Of course, legendary head coach, one of the first, I think the first coach at William Carey to be inducted into the Mississippi Hall of Fame.
Right.
And so just an incredible career, and obviously humongous news yesterday when that was broken by our site at the Pine Belt News. So. Just a tremendous career, and hopefully we'll get more time with him to get to discuss him and just kind of, talk about his career, because it's obviously a lot for him right now. He's getting probably so many calls, so many thank yous, and so many things. But once all that slows down, it'll be a good time just to get him back on and maybe just talk about his career a little bit.
And that's why I was so grateful that he would come on today.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
When I talked to him this morning, he told me things are pretty crazy.
Right.
819 wins.
Yes.
Started when he was 25 years old.
Yeah, head coach at 25.
5 conference championships, Final Four of the NAIA
2019
tournament. So a great man, and I think even a better man than a coach. I mean, he's a fine man.
And if you consider a generation being 25 years, which is they say now a generation is 25 years, William Carey has had the same basketball coach for nearly 2 generations.
Yeah.
The baseball coach, Bobby Halford, I don't know.
Yeah, he's been forever.
They ever Energizer Bunny? He's still going after 42 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they just don't leave Carey.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, I think there was a story where this player's dad played for Coach Knight, and then about 5 years ago, his son also played for Coach Knight. Kind of just the same what Kelly was saying.
That's a great story.
Great story. I think Andrew Abity, our former colleague, wrote that story about 10 years ago or so.
J.J. Thoms is the president here of this beautiful bank in Petal, and despite knowing Kelly, still invited us, and we're very impressed with that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you guys here today. Beautiful day. We're outside the parking lot, and couldn't have picked a better day to have it.
All right, for people who may not be aware, BankFirst just recently was Magnolia State Bank.
That's right. So I guess it was announced in June, maybe July. Official merger was mid-November. Magnolia State Bank has been around for a long time in the area. Tremendous bank, but we had an opportunity to merge with BankFirst, and it's been fantastic.
And you work with Chris Mangum.
Unfortunately, yes, I do. He is my boss. Yeah, Chris is the South Region president.
Yeah. I'm going to do a shameless plug. I just released a podcast yesterday. Dima actually is the technical guy. I wouldn't know how to release anything. With Chris Mangum, and it's a great story. And he's just a fine guy, man. He is a really nice guy.
Yeah, he really is. Had a tremendous career, both collegiate, high school, collegiate,
right,
and of course played 10 or 11 years with the Panthers.
And a family of professional athletes.
There's something in that bloodline for sure.
Yeah.
John played with at Alabama and played with the Chicago Bears for years, and of course everybody knows his son Jake Mangum played at State, and now is with Pittsburgh Pirates. So Chris and John's dad, we were talking about that earlier, played at Southern Miss and played for
the Patriots when they were the
Boston
Patriots. Exactly,
that's right.
Kelly.
That's right. So, tremendous athletic bloodline.
All right, tell us what you'd like our listening audience to know about your bank.
Yeah, so the BankFirst is not a new name to the area. They didn't have a huge presence here. But mostly, Magnolia State and our bank has been around here in this area for many years. We like to say we're the same group of folks, just a different name.
Yeah.
Just a different name. We are now a regional bank, but as regional banks go, we're on the smaller side. So we hopefully won't lose much of that community bank feel that we've been known for all these years.
And that's something we've seen lost in the industry largely, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. A lot of banks are going on buying sprees and buying out, and but like I said, the BankFirst is headquartered in Columbus. Got its start in Macon, Mississippi. A very small bank, and have grown quite a bit over the last several years. We're very happy to partner with them, and like I said, we're not losing that community bank feel that we've been known for many years.
And you have celebrity clients. The great Ozzie Pratt just walked out of here, didn't he?
Yeah. I don't think Ozzie would mind me saying this. He just opened an account. He's really close friends with one of the guys that works here with us. And
what a wonderful kid.
Fantastic guy.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic guy.
Yeah, but to open up an account, they wanted him to show his license, and he threw it about 5 feet away from where he was supposed to throw it.
Yeah, it was an overthrow for sure.
That's terrible.
Fantastic kid.
Terrible.
We're just kidding.
Why would you say that about Ozzie Pratt?
We're just kidding.
Well, we were joking with him earlier before we went on air,
and he mentioned it.
Yeah,
he said,
he did.
I used to struggle with some overthrows.
Yeah, now he's slinging pizzas at Mercury.
Yeah,
probably overthrowing those. Fantastic kid.
Humble kid, too. We told him we missed him, and he immediately said, "Oh, no, Seth is doing a great job."
He did.
Yeah, but we still miss Ozzie Pratt. That's
absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure.
Another really good baseball family.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah. The greatest moment, he did an interview about 2 years ago, and he got really excited and played really well and brought up Oxford and said he's never going back to Oxford. He hates that place. He's going to stay down here. That's when he was endeared forever with Southern Miss fans.
Amen.
Right, JJ?
Amen. Absolutely.
Now, there's a pretty famous guy sitting right beside you here. Is he associated with the bank?
He is not associated with the bank. Been a customer of the bank for a long time. Close friend of mine.
He's going to join us later with his famous...
Do we want to give it away? I don't know if we want to give it away.
Well, let's just say it's become so famous there are towels.
Yeah, we did draw up some towels, some rally towels sponsored by BankFirst, and
we'll save the surprise for later. As soon as he says anything, people instantly know
it's going to be a really high-pitched surprise.
Well, that should give it away, right?
And he doesn't sound like that right now.
He doesn't.
No,
he doesn't.
What happens? I don't know.
Yeah, he has to squeeze.
We'll ask him. We'll ask him when he comes back. Judge, why are so many banks changing names?
I think that's just part of the industry right now. The banking business is overregulated, and when you get to a certain size, it's just really tough to keep up with the regulations that the government's putting on us. So it's just easier to combine resources, and you're seeing that all across the banking industry.
And you know this guy.
Yeah, I've known Kelly for quite a while. Yeah.
Hey, Parchman's never been the same since we left.
I know.
You know?
I know. Those showers together were really special, Kelly.
All right, now we got to leave it right at that. We got to leave it right there.
We don't want to hear anymore.
Yeah. That was an image I didn't need in my head.
Right.
And Kelly puts a lot of them in our heads.
You should have heard what he said about his grandchildren off air.
Stunning. He's a stunning character, man.
He is one of a kind.
Different guy.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
All right, now you're a former Southern Miss baseballer yourself.
Well, yeah, I did have a very short career at Southern Miss. I did. I played. I guess I got my start. I grew up in Richton. Got my start at Jones Junior College. Played a year there, and then came and played for Southern 1 year, which was Corky's first year as a head coach.
Played for Bobby Glaze at Jones, right?
Bobby Glaze. That's
Do
right.
you do a Corky imitation like all of his former players seem to?
I've got a couple. Have
you got a Corky story you can share with us?
I do have a funny story.
Yeah, let's hear it. They're always great.
My cousin Lake Thoms played for Corky at Meridian and for Scott Berry. Also had his brother Hank played at State at the same time with Rusty. And I don't know what I'd done, struck out or made an error or something. And I was coming off the field, and Corky looked at me and said, JJ, your cousins all play pretty good up at Mississippi State, right? I said, yeah. What in the heck happened to you?
He was very kind.
He was very kind. Very kind. I'll tell you a funny story if I can have a couple minutes. So when I was playing at Southern, and some of these guys have heard this story, my cousin Hank was pitching at State. My cousin Lake was playing second base, and my other cousin Rusty was playing left field, playing up in Starkville. And Hank, who I'd never faced before, we both grew up in 2A baseball but had never faced each other except in the backyard. So he threw me one of his hanging curves, and I hit it down the left field line, right? Jim Ellis and I guess Jack Crystal were on the broadcast, and my dad was one of those nerds, baseball nerds, that wore the headsets.
Never believed his eyes.
Right, and of course he's a Bulldog, but he was listening to the thing, and either Crystal or Ellis said, "Guys, you're not going to believe what happened." He said, "Let me break it down to you." He said, "Thoms pitches to Thoms. Thoms hits it down the third base line. Thoms picks it up, throws it to Thoms at second, and Thoms slides in safe." That actually happened.
That's kind of like the "Who's on first" routine, almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Greatest line I ever heard from Jack Crystal. Mississippi State had just been dreadful against Ole Miss in football, and Jack Crystal said, and ladies and gentlemen, the sonic drive of the game, the best drive of the day, will be my drive back to Tupelo after what I've just witnessed. I said only Jack Crystal could get away with that.
Amen.
Right,
that's great.
You join us at 150?
Absolutely. Great to have you guys. I really appreciate you coming out.
With the special guest.
With the special guest.
At 150.
That's right.
Eagle Hour will continue right after this.
You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour. The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
All right, everybody, welcome back. SuperTalk Eagle Hour on the road today. We're at BankFirst here in Petal, Mississippi. We'll have J.J. Thoms back on the show. Before we wrap things up, he, of course, is the president of the bank here. We're very grateful to him for inviting us here today and allowing us to broadcast our program from their bank. All right, just a few hours away from weekend 2 of Sun Belt Conference play. And, Dima, let's break this thing down. New pitching rotation tonight. How do you think that may affect things?
It's a new pitching rotation for both teams, not just Southern Miss. Troy's been trying to figure out their pitching as well. I said this on my other show, I do a View from the Press Box, shameless plug, that I thought their left-handed pitcher, who's really been their most dominant pitcher out of every arm, they might move him from Sunday to Friday just because of how Southern Miss has hit left-handed pitchers and lo and behold, it is a left-handed pitcher tonight for Troy against the Golden Eagles in the name of Benjamin Stubbs. Like I said, he was their Sunday guy, but now they moved him to Sunday. Friday, excuse me, yeah. Low to mid 90s from the left side, so kind of a different lefty that Southern Miss is used to seeing. Sometimes those lefties in the Sun Belt, you'll see that 88, 90. This guy's going to be more 92, 94 from the left side, but he's going to have that wipeout slider 84, kind of sits 84, then the 87 cutter, which is very rare for a left-handed pitcher to have a cutter. Actually, Graydon Harris is one of the few arms in the Sun Belt who has a cutter because Gunnar Leger gave pretty much everybody on the staff a cutter. So, so two lefties on the mound tonight for Graydon Harris for Southern Miss, and then Benjamin Stubbs for Troy. To be announced tomorrow for both teams. There hasn't been a pitcher announced for Troy and not for Southern Miss either.
Is that right?
And then to be announced for Troy on Sunday. And then McCarty English, as always, is still in that Sunday slot for the Golden Eagles. So, yeah, that should be a change. I'm really interested to see Graydon Harris tonight just because sometimes it's a little different under the lights. It really is. I mean, it can affect how batters see that stuff. Graydon hasn't thrown at night before, not that I can remember. I mean, he's been the Sunday guy all of last season and then the Saturday guy all this season. He threw that 6 p.m. game against Arkansas State, so, and it was fine, so I'm not really worried about it. And I think the Oregon State game was the night game, right? So, so he's thrown night before, so I'm not really worried about that.
So we could be looking at a pitcher's duel tonight.
Yeah, I expect probably an hour and a half long game.
Yeah, pretty quick.
With the way Southern Miss is swinging it, and especially this guy's a left-handed pitcher, but Troy's not hitting Graydon Harris. So.
Short games are okay, but sometimes they're okay for the wrong reason, right?
Yeah, and I'm expecting like a 2-1 game tonight, something like that.
And if Troy has any mid-relievers that can go 3 or 4 innings, but they throw from the left side, you notice they haven't announced a starter for tomorrow or Sunday. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Troy takes a long reliever who throws it from the left side to start on Saturday and or Sunday, depending on how tonight goes. But when Christian Ostrander on this show said, if I was planning to play Southern Miss, I'd throw lefties.
Right, he did say that.
I mean, if you're going to beat this team so far, so they can't be surprised that they're going to get a parade of lefties.
Well, the good news is for Southern Miss fans, if you're a Southern Miss fan listening to the show, which pretty much everybody is listening to the show, is that Troy's bullpen has been their weakest part of the team. Their bullpen is almost a 7.0 ERA plus, and then not to mention that, hitters are hitting over 300 against Troy's bullpen and under 250 against their starters. So the bullpen is where Southern Miss has got to start hitting the ball. I mean, Troy's just not had a good bullpen. Now, the flip side of that is Troy's offense has been suspiciously bad, almost puzzlingly bad. This was an offense who, by all means, should have the talent to be one of the best offenses in the Sun Belt. Now, of course, Southern Miss fans don't want that to happen tonight. A guy Southern Miss fans know and have heard all season last year and all preseason this year, Blake Cavell, who was the preseason Sun Belt Player of the Year. He's batting 160 right now for Troy, only 2 homers. This was a guy who they thought was supposed to be 25, 30 home runs, batting 350. So obviously Southern Miss fans hope that continues this weekend. But Troy's offense has been the most puzzling part about their team so far. But you have to think that Troy in their back of their minds are thinking about last year when Southern Miss went over there and swept them. Coach, I'm forgetting the Troy's head coach, Skylar Meade. Is that his name? Right? Skylar Meade. Coach Meade, he's a competitor, and even though this is a group full of transfers, you have to think that they are thinking about last year, about what Southern Miss did to them, arguably kept them out of the tournament.
Beat them 4 times last year because beat them in the tournament.
Yes.
All right, let's skip ahead to Saturday. Your speculation as to who will take the mound.
I think it's going to depend on who comes out of the bullpen tonight. Now, historically, that's been Cross Sibley after Colby Allen. I personally think tonight it'll be Colby Allen coming out of the pen and outside of Graydon Harris because generally Oz likes to go left-right or right-left, so I would expect a right-handed pitcher tonight. I could see Cross Sibley starting tomorrow. I really could.
I could, too.
Historically, that's not been a great thing for Southern Miss. He's been much better out of the pen, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a Crabtree either. But a lot of people think it's going to be Camden Sundstrom. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's been so good out of the pen. I just don't think you want to change it, if that makes sense.
Cross has been good out of the pen too.
I know. But the thing is, they have 2 players who have started in Crabtree and Causey, so I think it's going to be one of those 2 guys, personally.
Yeah. And Troy has started off colossally slow. this year, but they seem to be hitting their stride.
They do. They are
right about now. I'd rather be playing them this weekend than perhaps next weekend.
Sure.
So this.
Kelly, you know Cross Sibley since he was a kid. I think Cross has got the ice in his veins to go out there and start Saturday.
He is a walking Quaalude. But there's nothing that bothers Cross Sibley. Nothing.
But Cross Sibley is almost identical to Colby Allen, but from the left side. Is when they've tried to start him, it just hasn't worked. Because he's really a two-pitch guy. That's the problem with Colby Allen that they've had. He's really a two-pitch guy. They tried to add that changeup, but when they added the changeup, it took away velocity from his fastball. So then the batters were just sitting on his fastball, and he wasn't missing barrels.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem with Cross Sibley starting is since he's mainly a two-pitch guy, they don't want to do that because you really need 3 or 4 pitches to start, which is why I think it'll be Crabtree or Causey.
Now, you and I have talked about this. Colby just never looked comfortable, did he, as a starter?
Yeah.
He just did, and he looked like the old Colby Allen Tuesday night when he came in late.
And like I said, we talked to Oz yesterday. We had a press conference with him, and he said the same thing. He said what we saw from Colby Allen was not Colby Allen. And I think
that's right.
I think that's what presented the change for him. I mean, to be honest, it was not Friday night stuff. And Graydon Harris has much more pitchability. But that's the thing about this bullpen is they don't need 3 starters. They don't really need 2 because the bullpen's been so good it's almost interchangeable. So why not put Colby Allen in his strength, which is in the back end?
Right. You know what they need? They need to start hitting the ball, right?
Yeah.
That would make things a lot easier this weekend to put up. You and I have talked about this. This pitching staff, and Kelly, throw your opinion in here, is so good. You score 5 runs a game, you're going to win 95% of the games you play.
Southern Miss, for sure.
Yeah, Southern Miss.
But, I mean, when you say that any team needs to start hitting the ball, the only thing that you cannot control as a baseball coach is what the other team's pitcher is doing.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you can identify tendencies, things that they'll do in certain situations, but the execution from the pitcher, you don't know what's coming. So it's easy to sit there and say, well, everybody's got to hit. Well, for sure. But I think as the game has evolved, pitching more than any other aspect of the game has gotten so much better.
Oh, yeah.
From the science standpoint and everything. Pitchers are so good.
And there's so much analytics with it now. But off that, I'm not really even looking for them to hit the ball. I'm just looking for better plate discipline. Last week at Arkansas State, the plate discipline was just terrible. I mean, just awful. They were swinging 0-2 pitches that were down in the dirt. They were swinging at high 0-2 pitches. Like, the plate discipline is what I'm looking for this weekend. Just has to be better. Take the walks and punish mistakes. That's this offense. They're not going to be a double in the gap, single offense. That's just not them. They've never been that. They've always been take the walks and then punish the home runs. That's just the team they've been with Travis Creel. So I'm looking for them to get back to that.
Yeah.
If they can get back to that and seeing the ball go out of the park a few times, hit some of the players down in the order, getting a few singles, that's what you're looking for this weekend. Just better plate discipline overall.
Kelly talks about you're going to see everybody pitch them left-handed. I get that. Another thing I think you've seen some this year is the team has been a little vulnerable, it seems to me, to 2-strike high fastballs.
Yeah.
And they go after those fastballs where they're up in the zone with 2 strikes. And Kelly, is kind of like you see. I see team after team after team get 2 strikes on a batter. They're coming with that high fastball.
Going up the ladder.
Up the ladder.
Right. And I think the other thing that teams have trouble with is not going with pitches.
Yeah.
There's always a tendency to want to try to pull the ball. And when you're swinging at pitches that are to the outer part of the plate and you're trying to pull the ball, you're going to pop the ball up. What the difference in a good hitter and a great hitter is when that great hitter gets that pitch that's outside, he'll take it the opposite way.
Right.
And I think the Eagles have been trying to pull the ball a little bit too much.
Right.
Which has caused some strikeout
and
issues.
We should say Southern Miss beat Troy 4 times last year, but I recall all games were pretty close. They were tough games.
I mean, you think about that game in the tournament. I think it was 2-1 Southern Miss, and the only reason they won is because Troy dropped a pop fly in right field, if I remember correctly. So,
I think all the regular season games were close and competitive.
No,
Troy's going to come in here and be competitive.
Right. I mean, they're a very talented ball club. You can't look at their record and just assume things about them. But their bullpen is not good.
And I know we're going into break, but other news from Troy as their basketball coach, who was the only Sun Belt team to make the NCAA tournament this year, he has resigned at Troy and is headed to Georgia Tech. So more basketball changes for Troy next year.
All right, the Eagle Hour's at First Bank in Petal, and we have a surprise mystery guest coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
Southern Miss to the top. To the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
I'll tell you what, it's been a good afternoon here at BankFirst in Petal. The weather is beautiful. We've been greeted with great hospitality, and JJ, we're very grateful to you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, Bob, the pedal you got all the buttons on?
Yeah, I think so.
Petal is the friendly city, you know.
It is. It is. We really appreciate y'all being here today.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure. We thank you. All right. Now, JJ, baseball season, you said you're headed to your suite after the show today. There's undoubtedly a person that everyone in the stadium at some point tonight will know they're at the game. Can you, and we have him here on the set. Can you introduce him for us?
Well, I'm not really sure how. There's so many different ways I could go about this. But Brad Bagget, a close friend of mine, is here today. He is the throw it in the dirt guy.
Oh, man.
Some people love him. Some people love to hate him. He's also one of the biggest residential home builders in town and has a tremendous business. You wouldn't know it by listening to him, but yeah.
A poor mouthing?
That's right.
Now, Brad, you've been on the show before.
Yes.
You were on the show one time before, and we were appreciative of you coming.
Sure.
I want you to tell us quickly how this all got started, because now it's become a phenomenon.
Yeah, so I guess about 10 years ago, JJ and myself, I think Chris Mangum, several others, we went and played golf. It was a noon on a Friday, and it's opening season. We got done with the planned all caravan up and get in the suite and get going. We're excited about the season. And long and the short of it is, I don't recall who we were playing at the time, but we were down like 5-3 in the bottom of the eighth inning. And JJ looked at me and he said, if you don't get out here and get this crowd rallied up, you're never coming back to the suite again. So, you know, we've been best friends forever. So we're joking around. I walk up to the rail and I just kind of look out and I'm like, what am I going to do? And I just go, throw it in the dirt. And the crowd goes dirt. The pitcher throws a pass ball and we win the game. And so that's on the Friday. So Saturday we wake up, you know, and we're like, well, I'm not doing that again. That was silly. And they're like, yes, you are. Come on. Well, lo and behold, we were down like 2-1, bottom of the eighth again. And I don't remember if it was hit or pass ball or what happened that time, but we won the game, and it just seemed to have, you know, some juju to it, and it took off from there.
Well, let me say, I'm glad you gave us the clean version of what he actually said to you when we got on the air. The other version I heard was not quite that clean. Right.
And I'm sure there was some inspiration from the Anheuser-Busch family.
Well, not Anheuser-Busch, Miller Lite.
Miller
Lite.
Lite.
Yeah, we're close friends with the Stokes guys.
Okay,
Yeah, so
gotcha.
we promoting
Now,
Stokes.
do you have to prepare yourself, Brad? I mean, you do any like throat exercises, maybe lubricate your throat in some manner?
You know, a Miller Lite, you know, some lime juice sometimes, you know.
Lime juice and Tito's.
And Tito's, so maybe.
More than one Miller Lite, perhaps?
2 on occasion.
Are you verifying that, JJ?
I'll verify that. Two is being very generous, though.
We were talking to one of the Troy assistant coaches yesterday on the show, and he said that he was told by other coaches that the assistant coaches even need to wear batting helmets when they're walking around for fear that a loaded beer can might hit them in the head.
Right. Real quick before we let Brad do his thing. I want to clarify something Kelly and I mentioned on the show yesterday. We both read articles, and this article was everywhere yesterday, that 3 Mississippi State players were suspended by the new coach for being in a nightclub, and the article quoted the coach. I mean, it looked like an AP article.
Yes.
So we commented on that, and we were complimentary of the coach because he is a first-class man, and that's a first-class baseball program. In the world of fake news, guess what?
None of it was true.
Completely fake. None of that ever happened. We want to clarify that because we did comment on it. We didn't report it. We commented on the article. Turns out the article was not accurate.
But we can tell you with 100% accuracy that Brad Bagget is actually here.
He is here. So we will not have to. We will not.
That is not AI generated.
We're not going to have to make a clarification of that. Right. Let us tune up and let us hear this.
To prove
that you're actually here.
Yeah.
Oh boy!
Ouch! I just blew my ear.
Now, Brad, you don't sound anything like that when you're talking. Can you explain that difference?
I have an ability to throw my voice up an octave, and it doesn't really even hurt me. After the game, everybody's like, "How did you lose your voice? I mean, how did you not lose your voice?" And I'm like, I don't even feel it.
Hey, the funniest thing is like a 3-game series when he's having to do it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sometimes late in the game Sunday it'll crack.
It does crack.
Gets a little bit cracked. It's a little bit cracked.
I'm just amazed that he doesn't have to grab or squeeze any part of his anatomy to do that. You know?
That's what I'm for. I stand behind him. And I usually give him a little swift kick.
I got you.
Will we be hearing this tonight?
I think so.
Well, Bob, what about the towels?
And let us say that.
Forgot about the towels.
Let us say that BankFirst has actually. You said you had a lot of them, don't you?
Yeah, we've got quite a few, several boxes of them, but we've got some really nice black throw in the dirt rally towels sponsored by BankFirst.
How do you get one?
Well, we're gonna have a game sometime during the year where we really give them out. But we're gonna have them in the suite. We'll drop you one from the suite tonight.
Thank you.
And you know what they should do is do a throw it in the dirt sound-alike contest. Have other people emulate or try to imitate.
All the women in the stadium could come around and do it.
All right, that wraps up the show. We're at BankFirst here in Petal, and as we exit for the week, Brad, take us out. Southern Miss
to the top.
Thank you. That was in the dirt.
I wanna fly like an eagle to the sea.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.